So why is having an effective phone interview crucial when hiring? Before you meet with a potential employee, you really want to set up a phone interview. The interview is crucial to narrow down your selection before the in-person interview. This is the most effective way to select candidates because it will save you time and money. A phone interview allows you to confirm basic requirements, give the applicant more information about the position, and get to know them a little more before the in-person interview. Why are phone interviews necessary? A phone interview is a pre-screening that allows the employer to see if a candidate matches the basic requirements and assess their communication skills. It should see if a candidate's salary request meets what the company is willing and able to pay. So using a phone interview can actually save you valuable time. How to conduct a phone interview. Conducting a phone interview is very similar to conducting a face-to-face interview. So before you set up the phone interview, you want to make sure that you go by the following steps. Number 1, prepare the interview questions that you will ask and review the candidate's information. Number 2, treat this as a face-to-face interview and set a reasonable time for the interview. Number 3, make sure you ask each candidate the same question. Number 4, make sure the candidate is willing to follow company policy. Now, the downside to the phone interview is that you cannot read body language, but this phase of the interview will really help you understand the candidate's communication skills. This will be especially essential if the candidate's position requires good communication skills. An effective phone screening interview is your best insurance against pointless questions or questions that should be reserved for the in-person interview. Without it, you actually risk wasting your time and the applicant's time, who may look good on paper, but then you're gonna later find out they're not right for the job. The phone screening interview isn't about making a decision on who you're gonna hire. It's supposed to identify the candidates who will make the final cut. This is why it's so essential that thought is put into the questions. Best questions for the phone interview. Now that we have established the importance of the phone interview, let's break down the best questions you can ask. Now, these questions should be direct because you want to leave the open-ended questions for the in-person interview. Remember that the phone interview is to get basic information and prerequisite for the next phase. Number 1, availability. Best to establish this type of question first, because if the candidate does not fit the work schedule, then obviously you know that they will not qualify, even if they are a good candidate. For example, if you're hiring for a full-time position, but the candidate only wants to work part-time, well, that's something you want to know right off the bat. Number 2, flexibility. When can you start? Are you willing to relocate? Would you be comfortable with 50% travel? Now that you know that the candidate is available, you want to make sure that they are willing to start within a time frame that suits you. Now, if the candidate needs to relocate, you obviously want to address all the details of their move, their expectations of the company, and any legalities that are involved. Number 3, salary expectations. This is another important question that you want to get out of the way because you want to agree on a number and see if there is room for negotiation. If you are hiring for an important high-level position, you may consider meeting the candidate's expectation, but this decision can be finalized once you meet them in person. If it's an entry-level position and the candidate is asking for an unreasonable wage, then obviously you might want to pass on that one. You can ask this question either by stating the amount or by simply asking them how much they would like to earn. Number 4, knowledge of your company. It's fair to expect them to have done some research on the company and what is required of them for the job. If they haven't, this could be a red flag or an opportunity to get on the same page. For instance, you can ask them, What interests you about the company and the position? Number 5, issues or basic information about their resume. A candidate's resume may not meet all the requirements, and there may be gaps that raise concerns and questions. Ask them to explain, listen, and write down the answers that they give. Ideally, they should sound honest, reasonable, and give concrete responses. This should also help you test them for when it comes to the in-person interview to make sure that they are consistent with their information. Number 6, verify basic information. Nobody likes a candidate that lies on their resume. Ask them questions about their background and be prepared to catch any inconsistencies. For example, you can ask them about their previous work, why are they wanting to move on, and anything that can clear up any issues. It's really important that you take notes during these interviews, especially if you have a high number of candidates that you're interviewing. If you do notice any negative signs during the call, then it will prepare you even more for the in-person interview, where you can actually go more in depth and really get to know the candidate, especially because now you will be able to read body language. You will get more of a feel of their personality, if they fit in with your company's culture, but of course you will be able to finalize your decision once you meet them in person. Other things you want to take note of is their attitude and their stress levels. Now, being nervous during an interview is completely normal, but of course you want to notice how they manage their stress. Now, red flags include things such as being arrogant, not listening, lack of understanding, or indifference. So be aware of their personality and choose wisely. If you want to know who we are, how we can help train you and your team hire the best, you can simply go to our website or click the description box below. Mitsuoka Company, the best recruiting business. Period.